Namaste everyone, welcome to the class. So today we will discuss the problems of gravitation, entrance exam problems. We have seen the synopsis, so now it is the time to see the questions. And here is the first question. Okay? Right, Namaste, welcome to the class. If three particles, each of mass m, are placed at the three corners of an equilateral triangle of side A, the force exerted by this system on another particle of mass m placed at the midpoint of the side and at the center of the triangle. So you have two parts in this question. One, to find out the force when the fourth particle is kept at the midpoint of one side and when it is kept at the midpoint of the triangle. Now, this is very similar to the charges. We are keeping the charges at different points in the form of a triangle, finding out the electric field at a point, or the force experienced by the fourth charge, something like that. So you have to do it in the vector form. So we will draw the equilateral triangle. If three particles of mass m are placed at the three corners of an equilateral triangle, this is m, and here is m, and here is m. All the particles are of mass m. And side A, okay, this is A, this is A, and this is total A, and the force exerted by this system on another particle of mass m placed at the midpoint of the side. So here, one side I will take, this is the midpoint of the side, so this is A by 2, and this other one is also A by 2. So we may in need of this A by 2. Then at the midpoint of the side, okay, then at the center of the triangle. Of course, at the center of the triangle we can write the answer now only, it is 0. So this answer cannot be these two cannot be the answers, because the force on the second case is 0. Why? Because if you keep a mass m here, it will be attracted equally from all the sides, like this, and like this. And you know that if there are, and this is an equilateral triangle, so definitely these angles should be 120 degrees, and if this force and this force and this force are equal in magnitude, only different in directions, but they are aligned at 120 degrees. If two forces are or if two vectors are inclined at an angle of 120 degree, and if the two vectors are equal, then what happens is resultant is also equal. You know why it is so? Because root of f square plus 2ff cos 120. Cos 120 is minus half, so root of f square plus f square minus f square you get. So totally the answer is f itself. So resultant of these two will be f, which is equal and opposite to this f. So resultant is 0. So force on the fourth particle, when it is kept at the center of the triangle is 0. It is an equilateral triangle, forces are aligned at 120 degrees. So this cannot be the answer then. You can go for a negative approach, that is ruling out the wrong answers. So this second force must be 0. So this cannot be the answer because both are not zeros. So this should be the answer. Okay. So we will prove how it is gm square by a square into 4 by 3. So we will go to the first part of the question, that is when the mass is kept at the center of the side, like this here. Now this particle will be attracted by this particle and this one equally. So I will name them A, B, C. So force on this, okay, I will keep it as O. Force on O due to A and force on O due to due to C are equal and opposite. They cancel each other. Now only the existing force is due to this, that is like this. Force on O due to B, that is the only one existing. So these two force of attractions given by these two m's will cancel each other. So you need to find out only the force due to this third one, this one here. So what is that? For that you need to find out what is the length, this one. That is root of hypotenuse square minus this square. This is a right angle triangle. A square minus a square by 4, a by 2 whole square. That is root of 3a square by 4. That is the distance here, because we want to know the distance. So what is the force on O due to B only? That is equal to G m1 m2, that is m square, divided by distance square. Distance square, when you square it, 3a square by 4, it is root and whole square. So what you will get? 4gm square divided by 3a square. Of course, when you square it, square root will be lost. So 4gm square by 3a square. So which answer? This one. And the other one is 0. Of course, you can find out the answer by method of inspection itself. Okay, so you are applying the same rule as we do in charges, electric charges. Okay, we will move on to the second one. If mass m is split into two parts, small m and capital M minus m, which are then separated by a certain distance, the ratio of m to m that maximizes the gravitational force between the two parts is. Of course, we have worked out problems of this type in electric field also. If a charge capital Q is divided into two equal parts, capital Q minus Q and small q, right? Suppose 10 coulomb is divided into two equal parts, 7 coulomb and 10 minus 7, that is 3 coulomb. 5 coulomb and 5 coulomb, 6 coulomb and 4 coulomb, 8 coulomb and 2 coulomb. Similarly, mass, suppose it is 20 kg divided into two parts, 10 kg, 18 kg 2 kg, 5 kg 15 kg, anyway. But the condition is you have to separate them by a certain distance. Each piece, that trials that we are going to practice, either 5 kg, 15 kg, 10 kg, 10 kg, 8 kg, 12 kg, whatever it is, keep them at the same distance, separated by a distance, the ratio of m to m that maximizes the gravitational force between the two parts. And in general ways, if you want to solve it, of course, I did it in the same way in the charges also. So suppose you are dealing with 10 kg, say, then capital M is 10 kg, say. Okay, then m and m minus m has to be like this. 8 kg, 2 kg, right? 6 kg, 4 kg, 5 kg, 5 kg, and 3 kg. So like this way, you can keep on dividing it. Now they say that the force should be maximum. When you keep these pieces separated by a fixed distance, the force should be maximum. So distance is not in the picture. It is not in the competition at all. It says I am same everywhere, so why I need to take a role in the finding out of answer. So in finding answer, R has no role. It is a constant. G is a universal gravitational constant. Only product decides which is the maximum force. Where do you get the maximum product? You get the maximum force. You get the maximum products when the pieces are of equal values. That means that small m should be half of capital M, isn't it? So their answer is m by m, that is half. Small m should be half of 50-50, right? So it should be 1 by 2. This is the answer. But this is just an inspection way of getting the answer. But how to do this? What you have to do is you have to differentiate and equate it to 0. When you differentiate an equation with respect to the variable and equate it to 0, you will get the maximum value of the variable. So how to do that? So you know that F is equal to G, first mass is M, second mass is M minus M. M doesn't take part in this. Capital M is split into two parts, small m and M minus M, divided by R square. And okay, now you differentiate this with respect to small m, because small m is a variable here. Small m can be anything. You can choose 3 kg and 7 kg. You can choose 6 kg and 4 kg. You can choose 5. So small m can be anything. So differentiate this equation with respect to small m. What you will get? Then G and okay, I will spread this d by dm of G m minus G. Okay, one thing I can do, Gm d by G by R squared can be taken outside. They don't take any role in differentiation. D by dm of mm minus m square, correct? Then df by dm, that is this differentiation of force with respect to variable small m. G by R squared, differentiate this, differentiation of capital M into small m. Capital M is a constant, remember, 10 kg has to be maintained as it is, whether it is 6, 4, 8, 2, whatever it is. Capital M is a constant, differentiation of small m is 1 minus 2m. And if you equate this to 0, you will get the maximum value of the this force, first equation. So differentiation gives, this will be G by R squared into m minus 2m is 0. These two cannot be zeros because they have a fixed values. Whatever the pieces you select, you keep them at a fixed distance. So there is no question of this becoming 0. So this should be 0. M minus 2m must be equal to 0, or m is equal to 2m. We want m by m, small by m by capital M. That ratio is asked. That is half. So that itself is the answer. Yeah. So that's how we can do that. So similar problem is solved in charges also. Third one. Yeah, that's all. Yeah, same problem, it is given here. So I have given the equivalent problem also. A charge q has to be divided into equal parts. What is small q by capital Q? That is half. Right. Fourth one. If three particles, each of mass capital M, are placed at the corners of an equilateral triangle of side A, the potential energy of the system and work done in the if the side of the triangle is changed from A to 2A is. Yeah, if you want to increase the size of the triangle by keeping three masses at three corners, you have to do the work because they will be attracting each other. So it is like expanding three springs which are connected in the form of a triangle. So you need to do the work. How much work is done? That is final energy minus initial energy, that's all. So what is the initial energy? We have two questions here. Three particles each of mass m are placed at the three corners of an equilateral triangle of side A. So A, here you have m and here you have m point masses, and you can apply Newton's law of gravitation. Side A, the potential energy of the system, yes, it is the sum of the potential energy of due to all the these masses. You have three charges q1, q2, q3 separated by certain r1, r2, r1, r2, 1, r2, 3, something like that in the three corners of a triangle. Then the total energy of the system is 1 by 4 pi epsilon naught q1, q2 by r12, q2, q3 by r23, q3, q3, q1 by r31, something like that. You had that equation. Similarly, the total energy of the system is, see, energy formula is, okay, energy formula, I'll write it here only. Minus g m by distance r gives potential. Potential energy, if you want, you have to multiply it by the charge or the, mass which is enjoying that potential. See, these two will create a potential here, and that will be enjoyed by this mass. These two will create potential here, that will be enjoyed by this one. So every mass, when it is kept in a gravitational potential point, it gets the potential energy. So you have to multiply this one. So this is only potential, multiplied by m gives the potential energy. Okay, now the total potential energy is equal to, now you see this this one g by r is always a constant, right? So shall I write is equal to minus g by r, right? Because all are different, are separated by the same distance a, g by a. Now what is the product? M m, m m, m m. Okay, or I should have written the formula thrice, that's all. So what is this? Minus 3 g m square by a. Minus 3 g m square by a. Do you have? Yeah, we have two answers, 3 and 4. Now expand the triangle to form the sides 2a. What is the new energy? U2 is equal to minus g m square by 2a, and that is 3 times, correct? 3 by 2. Similar to this, here it is a and now it is 2a. Now what is the change in energy? That is the work done. Work done is equal to change in energy W is equal to U2 minus U1. U2 is minus 3 by 2a gm square minus gm square by 3gm square by 2a minus of minus 3gm square by a. 3gm square by a. So work done is equal to, so that becomes plus, right? And it becomes 1 by a minus 1 by 2a. So 3, this plus gm square by a, that becomes plus, minus gm square by 2a, 3 again. Okay, 1 minus 1 by 2, that is 1 by 2, correct? 3gm square by a will be the first one, which becomes negative, u2 minus u1. 3gm square by a, it is here, minus 3gm square by a becomes plus, and this becomes 3gm square by 2a. 3gm square by a is a common thing, 1 minus half, that is half. So 3gm square by 2a, final answer, plus 3gm square by 2a, this is option. First one is minus 3gm square by a, the next one is 3gm square by 2a. Okay. Since you are doubling, actually, when you double the energy, difference is the first energy itself, right? Isn't it? The 3 is doubled, 6. 6 minus 3 is 3 itself, answer. 4 is doubled, 8. 8 minus 4 is first answer itself. So, but with positive sign, right? That is the answer. So minus 3gm square by a, 3 plus 3gm square by 2a. It is half, right? Half of the first one. Yes. Then fifth one. A thin rod of length L is bent into form of a semicircle. Mass of the rod is m. What will be the gravitational potential at the center of the circle? Yes. You know the potential due to a point charge, you know, right? Just now we were talking about that. Potential energy due to a point charge, we know it. Right. A thin rod of length L is bent into the form of a semicircle. Mass of the rod is m, total mass. What will be the gravitational potential at the center of the circle, semicircle? Yes. Suppose there is a point mass, right? M. What is the potential here? Gravitational potential is 1 by 4 pi, minus g m by r, distance. That is the potential here. Suppose you keep another mass small m, then minus g m by r. That is the potential energy. Now they are asking you, what is the chalk pieces? Yeah. What will be the gravitational potential at the center of the circle? But this is an extended object like this, right? I'll draw a larger one because I have to do so many things in that diagram. Yes. So this is radius r, right? And okay, right. This is the extended object. It is not a point object. It's not a point object. Now what is the potential here? That is the question. So what I'll do is, potential is a vector, scalar quantity, so you need not worry about the direction. The same question may be asked for electric potential and electric intensity, electric field. Of course, it is their same, electric field and electric intensity. You can do it in the same way. What you have to do is, since we have the gravitational potential with respect to a point mass, divide this into so many point masses. So what I will do is, I will take a small piece of the conductor, length AB. Let its length be dl. Now join the two ends. The two ends are so close that it can be taken to be a very point mass. Let this make an angle d theta. Okay, this make an angle d theta, and let this experiment be done at an angle of theta from the one end, because we are going to take such elements from starting from here theta 0 up to theta 180. That is what you have to do. Find out the potential due to each point mass and then integrate it. Okay, what is the potential due to this point mass of let its mass be dm. Now potential due to this du, I write potential due to this dv is equal to gravitational potential at O, right, is equal to minus g its mass dm by its distance from here to here, that is radius, right? That is the potential due to this point mass here. Now you express dm in terms of theta, because we have the limits for integration from starting from 0, such experiment from here to 180 degrees. So when you have the angle, try to express this in angle. You know that this dm, it is the mass of a small piece, right? The whole length L has got a mass m. What about dl? 1 minute. Yeah. M is the mass of full length L, right? Or should I write it dm? Yeah. dm, yeah, m has a m. No, this is correct. The full length L has a mass m. What about the dm length? Dl length. The length is dl, right? Correct. What is the mass of this? That is dm. Correct. Full length L it possesses a mass of m. What about dl length of the element has mass? That is dm. So if dm is equal to m by L into dl, so I can change this as minus g into by r into dm. dm is full length L has got a mass m, because it is mass is uniformly distributed, a uniform rod. It should have been given, right, a thin rod of length L. Yeah, it's a uniform rod. Whatever be the type in which you cut it, mass is equally distributed, right, according to the length. So L by m by L into dl. Now dl can be expressed in d theta. dl is equal to r d theta. dl is equal to, okay, this is small l, r d theta. You know this. Arc length is equal to radius into the angular displacement, r d theta. So you can express this as minus g by r into m by L, dl is r d theta. So 1 r gets cancelled. dl is equal to r d theta. Yes, now it is in terms of d theta. Now you can find out what is the total potential due to all such elements starting from 0 to pi, because it is a semicircle. So potential is integration from 0 to pi minus gm by L d theta. Okay, that is equal to, now it is only theta coming into picture because all these are constants. So that is equal to minus gm by L, integration of 1 is theta, theta from 0 to pi. So V is equal to minus gm by L. Theta starting from 0 to pi means it is pi minus 0. It is pi. Gm pi by L, right? Right? Minus gm pi by L. This is the answer. Fourth one. I am having a little bit of doubt here. Did I go anywhere wrong? Minus pi gm by L. Pi gm by L. Yes, I think I have not gone wrong anywhere. So you have to take, it is a semicircle, r, theta, everything is same, and it is not to 2 pi, it is only up to pi. While solving myself, I thought I got my 2l. Yeah, pi gm by 2l. That's right. So you have to take a small arc of length dl. So minus gm by r, that is the potential, and m is written as full length L, has got a mass m, and it's a semicircle. And what about length dl? dl is r d theta minus gm by L, and minus gm by L into 0 to pi, yeah, 180 degree, correct? And d theta minus gm by L into theta, that's pi minus 0, yes, minus gm by L theta, minus gm pi by L, correct? Pi gm by L, yes. Do you have any other answer? Right? No. Yeah, that is the potential. So similarly you can find out electric field. Of course, when you find out electric field, there is a direction like this by taking different, there is a little bit more work here. Yes, sixth one. If both mass and radius of the earth decreases by 1%, right, what will happen? That is the options. And there are two types of options here. That means one says acceleration due to gravity will increase or decrease. Another says escape velocity would increase or decrease. So both have to be monitored now. Either escape velocity or acceleration due to gravity. If both mass and radius of the earth decreases by 1%, let us think about acceleration due to gravity. Square root of gm by r squared. Of course, radius of the planet, mass of the planet. If it is earth, okay, earth. Then escape velocity is equal to root of 2rg. Of course, you can expand g. Let us see whether it is needed or not to expand g. Now, where is, yeah. Both mass and radius of the earth decreases by 1%. If it decreases by 1%, if you had taken the original radius and mass as 100m and 100r, you could have written 99m and 99r. Since you have taken 1m and 1r, you should write it as 0.99, right? 1% less. G dash is equal to square root of g into 0.99m divided by 0.99r whole square. That is equal to square root of g into m into 0.99 divided by, this is r square into 0.99 into 0.99. 1.99 gets cancelled. So the new acceleration due to gravity will be square root of gm by r square into 1 by 0.99. So this answer compared to this answer, initial gravity, acceleration due to gravity, this answer is more because this is 1 by 0.99, correct? 1 by 0.99 will be more than 1, right? It will be more than 1. So this answer is multiplied by a number which is more than 1. Even the square root of greater than 1 will be more than 1, right? So this will be say 1.111. Then the square root will be 1.09 something. So this answer will be greater than this. Clearly says g dash is greater than g. Since this is in the numerator, denominator. If it was in the denominator, of course, g dash would have been less. So acceleration due to gravity would increase. Second option plays a correct role. Now what about escape velocity? Escape velocity, nu 1 is equal to root of 2. Radius should decrease by 1% and of course mass should decrease by 1%, but we have total change in the acceleration due to gravity. Acceleration due to gravity will become g dash becomes g by root of 0.99, right? Because root of gm square by this is root by 0.99, right? So what happens to g? G will be acceleration due to gravity original one divided by 0.9, or you can do it like this also. Escape velocity dash is equal to root of, I can put here 2rg, 2r by, okay, g is gm by r square. I'll put it in the easiest way. So what is the escape velocity? First escape velocity is root of 2gm by r square. Okay? No, 2gm by r, 1 r has been cancelled, 2gm by r. Okay, now new escape velocity v dash is equal to square root of 2g, mass is 0.99 m, radius is 0.99 m. Now you don't have problem with this one, it remains the same, right? Escape velocity wouldn't change, but acceleration due to gravity would increase. That is option. So you have to try for both. Yeah, assertion. An Earth satellite is moved from one stable circular orbit to a farther stable circular orbit. Satellites moving around the Earth are very similar to electrons moving around the nucleus, because the same role applies here also. In electron moving around the nucleus, there is an attractive force between electrostatic force between positively charged nucleus and negatively charged electron. Whereas in gravitational force, it is obvious, it is attractive. Satellite is attracted by the Earth, so both are having negative potential energy. Now, so that means when the electron is supplied with energy, it goes to the outer orbits. Its magnitude of energy may decrease, but it is negative. So that's why we say energy is increasing. If the electron goes to the outermost energy level, where the energy is 0 electron volt, it is having highest energy now, right? Because compared to the most negative bounded energy in the innermost orbit, 0 energy is much more. So electron, as it absorbs energy, it becomes lesser and lesser negative values, means it is increasing. So what is the assertion? An Earth satellite is moved from one stable circular orbit to a farther circular orbit. Okay, electron is jumping now. Now the total energy of the satellite increases. Exactly, it increases because it becomes less negative. And because the reason total energy is inversely proportional to radius of circular orbit and is negative. That is both are correct. There also it is inversely proportional to radius of the square of the radius of the circular orbit. So, and it is negative. Both assertion is true and reason is also correct. Explanation of assertion. Third option holds good. Both are correct, and this reason is the correct explanation of assertion also, because energy is inversely proportional to radius and moreover it is negative. Otherwise, as radius increases, energy should have been lesser and lesser, but since it is negative, it becomes more and more. Okay, so option 3. 8. The eccentricity of Earth's orbit is 0.0167. The ratio of minimum speed in its orbit to its maximum speed is. Eccentricity means, you see, when the Kepler's first law says that law of orbits, every planet moves around the Earth in an elliptical orbit with the Sun at one of the foci. And since the orbit is elliptical, at some places the radius, semi-major axis and semi-minor axis, you know, that again, starting from the focus to the circumference of that ellipse, you know that the distances are different. So a planet may have maximum radius, minimum radius. That difference ratio is called eccentricity. So eccentricity is defined as R maximum minus R minimum divided by R maximum plus R minimum. This is eccentricity. Now they are given what is eccentricity, then the ratio of minimum speed of in its orbit to its maximum speed. And you know that when the planet moves around the Sun in an elliptical orbit, when the Sun has one of the foci, when the radius becomes maximum, velocity becomes minimum, right? So that the law of conservation of angular momentum, say this is R1, R maximum, say R maximum and R minimum. Then how do you write this? Here, when the R is maximum, V is minimum, right? V minimum, and this is V maximum, correct? R maximum, velocity is minimum. They are asking you maximum to minimum speed, right? So how do you multiply this? R maximum So mass of the satellite, you know angular momentum is moment of momentum. Momentum is mv, moment is r. So m into r maximum and v minimum is equal to same mass, because we expect mass doesn't change when the planet moves. M here v maximum, okay, r minimum, v maximum, correct? M gets cancelled. So what do we want here is the ratio of minimum to maximum speed. Whether that sentence is correct, I will have to change from maximum to minimum. I will check it. Minimum to maximum, because we don't have such answers. We will see minimum to maximum. Minimum by maximum is equal to r minimum by r maximum. Okay, I think I have to change this from maximum to minimum. We will see that whether that sentence is correct or not. Okay, we will rearrange this. Eccentricity is given. What is that? 0.0167. 0.0167 r maximum minus r minimum divided by r maximum plus r minimum. Okay, multiply this now. Or I could have taken it as E only and cross multiplied it. Then I will substitute it E. E into r maximum plus E into r minimum is equal to E without E, r maximum minus r minimum. Okay, then what else? Maximum we will add it. So this will become minus, right? E, or I will bring this one here. R maximum into 1 minus E. Bring this here. R minimum into E minus 1, correct? No, 1 plus E, right? 1 plus E, this is 1 minus E. So we want the minimum speed to maximum speed, means R minimum by R maximum. I think, okay, R minimum by R maximum, R minimum by R maximum, I will bring it here. 1 minus E divided by 1 plus E. 1 minus E, what is 1 minus E? 1 minus E is 1 minus 0.0167 divided by 1 plus E. 1 plus E is 1 plus 0.0167. I think we need to change the ratio of minimum to maximum speed. Maximum to minimum speed, we have to change this, right? Because I am connecting this. So that is equal to 1 minus 0.0167 is 1.0167. So 3. Then 9 minus 1, 8. Then 9. 0.9833, correct? 10. 0.9833 divided by 1.0167. Now the thing is, here we don't have any fraction at all, 0 point. This should be less than 0.9, right? 1.0167 should be definitely less than 0.9833 divided by a number greater than 1 will give you answer which is less than 0.98. The problem here is all are there is nothing which is less than 1. No number is less than 1. So actually they should have asked maximum speed to minimum speed ratio. Maximum to minimum speed. I think I have gone wrong in typing it. Maximum to minimum speed. So what is maximum to minimum speed then? We have to get the ulta ratio, right? That means R maximum to R minimum. So what is this one then? R maximum to R minimum is 1.0167 divided by 0.9833. 0.9833. So this will give you an answer which is just greater than 1.01, because it is 0.98, which is almost equal to 1, just greater than 1.0339. That's how we have to do. But you must know this part. I have not given this in the synopsis also. Eccentricity. What do you mean by eccentricity? Okay, 9th one. The density of the earth is doubled, keeping its radius constant. Okay, radius is maintained same, only density is double. Okay, then density of the earth is double, keeping radius constant. Then acceleration due to gravity will be. Acceleration due to gravity is gm by r square. Mass is equal to density into volume. G by r square, density into volume.
because we have to somehow bring that term r square, density, volume is 4 by 3 pi r cube, and you take 1 r here.
If the density of the earth is double, okay, density is double, keeping the radius constant, okay, then the acceleration due to gravity will be, of course this is a perfect constant, universal constant, r is maintained same, that's what they say, only double, it is instead of 9.8 it should be 19.6, double. So acceleration due to gravity would double if density is double, keeping radius constant. If radius is not kept constant, the things will be changing. So option 1. 10th one. A body is projected vertically upwards from the surface of a planet of radius r. A body is projected from the surface of a planet of radius r with a velocity equal to half the escape velocity for that planet. The maximum height obtained is. Of course, here it suddenly appears as if you can use the equation v square is equal to v naught square plus 2ax, where v naught is half of the escape velocity. Escape velocity is root of 2rg, correct? It is 2rg, root of 2r gm by r square. So 1r gets cancelled. It is root of 2 gm by r. So what is the initial velocity? It is thrown with an initial velocity which is half of escape velocity, half of root of 2 gm by r. Final velocity is 0, because once you throw it with a velocity which is half of the escape velocity, it will reach to a point where there is gravitational pull, because we didn't throw it with full escape velocity. So there is gravitational pull here, so it won't return back at all. Okay. Sorry, it will return back, right? It will return back. So final velocity will be 0. It won't be moving with the, or it won't reach to a point where there is no gravitational pull, because this is escape velocity by 2. Now it looks as if we can put v square is equal to v naught square plus 2ax, but it doesn't work. You will get an answer which is wrong, and there is one option here also. I think you will get r by 2, r by 4, something like that. But answer is wrong, because if you throw an object with the velocity which is half of the escape velocity, won't it reach to a point where the gravitation, acceleration due to gravity, which is not equal to that on the surface of the earth? Definitely it will be going to such a height that acceleration due to gravity will not be the same everywhere. Suppose you throw an object which goes to 100 meters or 200 meters, okay, no problem, you can use the same g everywhere. But here you can't expect the same g everywhere, because it is thrown with such a high velocity. It goes to a point where the gravitation, acceleration due to gravity keeps on changing with height. So you need to apply the law of conservation of energy. The total energy here and total energy here must be same. That's how we derive escape velocity, right? In the same way we have to do. So if this is the earth of radius r, right, and this is the height attained by this, what is the total energy here? And here we have kinetic energy plus potential energy, and here we have kinetic energy plus potential energy. I call this as point B, this as point A. So kinetic energy, I hope you can see here, kinetic energy plus potential energy at A must be equal to kinetic energy plus potential energy at B. And you know the potential energy formula. What is the potential energy formula? U is equal to minus G m by r. We have the product of mass and another mass. So, okay, now we have to solve this. Kinetic energy, it is thrown with a velocity, a body. Let us take that it is a body of mass m, half the escape velocity, right? Escape velocity by 2 here. That we have the half of the escape velocity, initial velocity. V square is 1 by 4, is it so? Half m v square, half of the escape velocity, 2 g m by r, because when I square this is v square actually, v naught square, initial velocity square, half 2 g m by r, half square. Okay, so here we have 2 times, and this one makes it 4, plus potential energy, it is minus gm by r, gm small m by radius, because it is on the surface, must be equal to at a height h at position B. At the position B, kinetic energy is 0. It should reach to the point where the velocity becomes 0, because escape velocity takes it, and there is a decrease in the velocity, but the decrease in the velocity is not the same everywhere. Rate is not same. Rate is not always 9.8. It keeps on changing. That's why we put the law of conservation of energy. Plus kinetic energy plus potential energy here minus G m by this height is r plus z. This is what we need to find out. The maximum height attained by the object is h. So what is this one? This one is minus G m by 4r. Minus G m by 4r. Yes. Minus G m by r is equal to minus G m by r plus h. I think I can cancel minus G m, take it outside the bracket, and you can do that. This is y minus, this is plus. G m by r minus G m by r minus, yes. Only potential energy is minus, kinetic energy is not minus. Okay. Right. Next. This one minus GMM can be cancelled. So you can write 1 by 4r minus 1 by r is equal to minus 1 by r plus h. Isn't it? Minus 1, plus 1 by 4r minus 1 by r minus 1 by r plus h. So you can take 4r common. What you will get? 4r 1 minus 4 minus 3. Correct? 4r 1 times, 1 times, r 4 times, minus 4, minus 3, minus 1 by r plus h. H cannot be negative here. Minus minus gets cancelled. 3r plus 3h, cross multiplication. 3r plus 3h is equal to 4r. Minus has been cancelled. 3r plus 3h equal to 4r. What is this? 4r minus 3r. 3h is equal to r. Right? H is equal to r by 3. Yes, that is the answer. This is r by 3, the final answer. Okay? Hope you can see this, right? Oh, you can't see the full question? Okay, let me see. So H is equal to r by 3. That is the final answer. Yes. Okay, so with this I will stop, and remaining questions I will do it in the next class. Thanks for watching my class. I will finish this, and later I will go to the I will give you a mock test only in physics, that is 45 questions, and you need to answer it in 1 hour, within 1 hour. Of course, you may get little more than 1 hour, because in biology you can answer it faster, but biology takes a very important role in a NEET exam. But still, you take 1 hour and solve it. I will give you 45 questions later, but I will complete this, and then I will go to the test paper, mock test paper. And thanks for watching my class, and keep on working. Wish you all the best. Thank you.